Now, I tell people, look, the breeding is going to be in November. But for the individual that has 1 week of vacation, he can't just go by the breeding is going to be in November. He'd say, I want to know when the hot time's going to be. When do I need to take that 1 week of vacation?
Well, you just heard it from Charles Alsheimer himself. We are back with our most popular interview of the year and what every hunter is dying to know. So listen in as Charlie talks about what kind of whitetail rutting behavior can be expected this fall. I think you're going to like what you're about to hear.
So AJ, the what we call the rutting moon hits on the 27th of October this year. It's going to be earlier than last year. Last year it was November 6th. And so consequently, you're going to see a little bit different rutting behaviors occur this year than last, specifically somewhere around October 23rd, 3 days before that full moon hits on the 27th. So around the 23rd of October, you're going to start to see bucks walking. And they're going to be doing things that you hadn't seen in the previous 2 months. They're going to be going across open fields, crossed highways in the middle of the day. Basically, they're on the march. They're looking for does. They're trying to find the first breedable doe possible. The full moon's going to hit. Most activity is going to be at nighttime. You're going to see a lot of deer-car collisions now. Matter of fact, twice what you saw at other times of the year. Then about 2 to 3 days after the full moon, things are going to really ramp up. Bucks are going to be a little bit frustrated. They've been on the march for a couple of days, and now they're going to start to chase. And no doe is safe now. Even the does that are not in estrus, they're going to be in frantic mode. So every buck out there is going to be chasing does, and that's going to take place for roughly 7 days because the breeding hasn't started yet. And that chase phase, about 3 days after the full moon, which will be around Halloween, till somewhere in the neighborhood of about 8 November is going to be a spectacular time to hunt. Bucks are chasing. They're on the move. They're covering up to 3,000 acres or more. And so the guy wants to be in that deer stand all day long from roughly Halloween to the 8th or so of November. Then somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 November, you're going to see lockdown. Breeding is going to be full-blown, and that's going to take place and last for a good solid week. And so this year, I tell people, be in your stand if you can from about the 23rd of October until about the 8th of November, because then you're going to see the most activity going on. Now, when that breeding begins, it's going to be tough. It's what we call lockdown. The buck's only going to move at the doe's pace, and when lockdown occurs in a doe's in estrus, she may not move 100 yards in the entire day. And as a result, if you don't have a hot doe next to your tree stand in that November 5 to November 15 time frame, it's going to be pretty lonely for you. So it'll be a little early this year, earlier than last year, but this year ought to be phenomenal. It's what we call a synchronized rut. Why a synchronized rut? Because what you basically have is the buck's testosterone peaks around November 1, the doe's estrogen level peaks around November 1, and we have a full moon around November 1. Everything is synced. And because of that, we call it a synchronized rut, and it is by far the most intense rut we have. We have 6 other years' worth of research where the full moon fell in a very similar manner to what's going to happen this year. And so we had a lot of data, and the data is pretty conclusive. So this year ought to be great, and it'll be for the north. The dates that I've just given would apply from roughly the 35th latitude north. Now, what is that? 35th latitude is basically Charlotte, North Carolina to Oklahoma City. Anything north of that. Pretty predictable. All November ruts. When you go south of that latitude, everything breaks up, and it becomes very, very difficult. The guys in Mississippi or Texas or Alabama or parts of South Carolina and Georgia, the rut can be all over the map. And so basically what I'm sharing with you pertains to the north, because those states north of the 35th latitude all get significant snowfall. And the critical part about the significant snowfall is the rut has to be in November so that 200 days later, those fawns can be born around June 1, and by being born around June 1, they're now big enough to survive a northern winter. So it's pretty amazing. It's part of nature, and we're just scratching the surface. We're just beginning on this. So it's pretty interesting to see how the whole thing plays out.